what are the steps that you took? The steps towards changing certain behaviors in your life so that you didn't end up back at Jack in the Box.
Yeah. I mean, so the first one was drawing that clear line in the sand with fast food. Like that was just a very big thing. It was a recurring theme in my life with the fast food. So I just cut that out. That was like step one, right?
Is that something that you just told yourself, or you had to communicate to your partner, friends, and like you had to have some accountability?
It was self-talk. I mean, I knew that was terrible behavior. There was no like, again, I wasn't fooling anybody. I wasn't even fooling myself. I knew every time I'd go through a drive-through, that's not good behavior. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're vegan, keto, paleo, whatever. Like, I think most people agree that fast food is not good. And it was, pretty obvious. So that was the first real step for me. I did try, Tupperwaring my food and things like that, like a bodybuilder. And that just didn't work for me. It was just too time intensive. So at the time, just given the world that I was in, there was a few people that I worked with that had some success with intermittent fasting. And they told me, hey, this might really work well for your kind of mentality. You're a really on-off, like hard-charging guy. And yeah, I did try it. And at the time, I was doing much more of like a daily intermittent fasting thing where I just was basically skipping breakfast. But it worked so well for me over that first 6 months because I lost like 50 pounds in that first 4 or 5 months. It was pretty impressive.
And that was the main change that you made?
That was at that time. And that was the first stage. It was just eliminating breakfast. So, I mean, flash forward to, how I did things back in like maybe 2016, 17. Yes. Was I a little overzealous on promoting fasting? Yeah, I probably was. But man, it was the only friggin' thing that worked for me at the time. Like it was just like this changed my life really quick and it was very, very fast. And then after that, I kind of got a little bit more nuanced with how I wanted to fast. I was like, I again was smart enough to realize that if I'm doing this every day, my body's going to adjust to it. So without really having keen biochemistry knowledge in that world, granted, what I was doing for work, I was in biomedical sales. So I understood how to articulate biochemistry mainly to physicians and had a lot of like formal training in that world, although I don't have a degree in that field. So I understood how to explain it. And I think that's why I do an okay job at what I do now is because I know how to sell the idea of it. I'm good at that. So with that, there were people that I respected in that community and some were physicians, some were not. And they're the ones that kind of turned me onto it and where I realized, well, okay, if this is caloric restriction via this phase, like my body's going to adaptive thermogenesis, I'm going to adapt. So then I kind of restricted and started fasting like 4 days a week with longer periods. And then I developed, an interest in the ketogenic diet because I understood sort of that common denominator of fasting, ketones, ketogenic diet and ketones and kind of how that worked. And I became very, very interested in that. And then the rest of the weight came off over the next year and a half. And it just felt like a lifestyle that I could maintain.
Mm-hmm.